Alright guys, I'm sure that you've heard from any of many people or you saw the news piece about the little 10-year-old girl named Hope with cerebral palsy who got mocked, harassed, bullied, whatever you want to call it, by some 40-plus-year-old guy and his 9-year-old son at the bus stop. Anyways, I'll put a link for the news piece in the video description. That's the only thing I'll leave down there. And I understand the uproar of everyone, and I understand, a number of people wanting to come out and make videos, but I feel there's some points, some variables, if you will, that aren't really getting touched upon. And I want to go over some things that people have addressed and some things I feel that people haven't addressed. I want to, I want to try and make, some points that aren't being brought up. And I mean, I could say the same thing that's being repeated by 100 people, and that's makes me know any more or less special than anyone else that's made a video about this. But okay, this man, and when I first watched this, the reason why I'm kind of chuckling there is because you got to wonder when people are going to realize that when you fuck up to a level like this, and you take the chance of being seen in public and getting it released on the internet, how many times do people have to get busted like this and just everything is exposed on the internet? Like this guy's address and name, everything is out there. He is going to get an internet wrath, the likes of which he had no idea was coming. The same thing I said when I made that video about making the bus monitor cry, the kids there. And this was before all their information got released and everything. I said, do these kids realize they've ruined their life? They're eventually going to be discovered and people are going to find out about them. This 40-plus-year-old guy basically ruined his 9-year-old son's life because of this. His name is going to be released. Anyone that's, a prospective, employer of his is going to do a job search or something, or is going to do a name search on him at some point, or it's just going to be known that, oh, that's the kid that mocked that little 10-year-old girl named Hope with cerebral palsy. He's going to have that stigma attached to him for the rest of his life. Thanks to you, Dad. Congratulations, you ruined your son's life. And again, it's like, how many times will people mess up like this before they realize, okay, maybe I shouldn't be just a complete and utter idiotic representation of humanity in public? But it will never end, I guess. Okay, now, I've seen the video. I think the guy is a complete piece of shit. The son can at least get away with the excuse that he's just too young and doesn't know any better, and he's just repeating what his father's doing, one of the biggest quote-unquote role models in his life. But this is where I kind of wonder why this story is going where it's going. When I first saw the news piece, treated to seeing Hope crying her eyes out, wiping the tears, and barely being able to understand what she says. And when I got done the news piece, okay, I got the understanding that the parents wanted to do this basically because they wanted the message of this out there, loud and clear, reach more voices and all that. But then I said, why did they even throw their little girl in front of the camera? Why did they have her, just bawling her eyes out and just being, a complete mess in front of the camera and just like creating a more traumatic moment out of this? Now, I can only speak for how I would want my own daughter, representing this, and, God forbid I had a daughter that had cerebral palsy. But me personally, I would be like, well, no, I wouldn't want to throw my daughter out there like that. And then I had to ask myself, well, why would these people want to put their daughter out in front of the camera like this? Because in my opinion, it was completely unnecessary to do so. The video alone stands proof for what certified assholes the father and son were. It was completely unnecessary to bring the daughter into this. You could have explained that she has cerebral palsy, she walks with crutches, she has a severe limp, and that is clearly what the father and son were emulating. You didn't need to have to throw the crying daughter out there. And when I saw something like that, I'm like, do these parents just want to become more popular from this? Do they see a potential payday from this? I don't know. And I'm not stating that they absolutely do. But the fact that I did see their daughter out there and just being thrown out in front of the camera, I have to realistically accept that possibility. And I have to ask you people, how would you feel if these parents of this girl, Hope, this 10-year-old girl with cerebral palsy, is basically being used partly by her parents to get a modicum of fame or notoriety out of this? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that kind of turns my stomach too. And again, I don't know for sure. I'm not in the heads of her parents. I don't know why I said that twice there. But I have to grasp that and just say, wow, potentially both sides of the parents here are evil. But I'm glad that the internet can help expose people like this because, not taking away from the father and the son mocking this girl and her disability, because that is the bulk of the story. But I don't know. When I saw the involvement of the little girl in that news piece, I was like, was that at all necessary? Was that at all necessary? If she is so fragile and so distraught over this, why rekindle everything like that? Why put her in front of the camera? Like, does she really understand what's really going on at 10 years old? If anything, it's making the whole situation even more traumatic for her. So again, I don't know. I just want to know why the parents felt it necessary to do that. I want to know why the parents felt necessary on both sides. Why the one parent felt necessary to mock this kid. Oh, and I love in the news piece when they talk to the wife and they go, well, they weren't mimicking Hope. They weren't imitating Hope. Stop. All right, let's hypothetically say they weren't mocking Hope. They were mocking someone with a disability. I don't care who it was. It was tasteless, it was immoral, it was an asshole move. And all the red dragon dildos and gay porn or whatever else anyone says they're sending to you is deserved, in my opinion. But again, I don't know. I don't know why, but it just really rubbed me the wrong way that these parents threw their 10-year-old daughter in front of the camera there. And I know, I'm getting repetitive as hell now. Anyway, I don't know. No one's really bringing that up too much, and I don't know. Just on a side note, does this really constitute bullying? I mean, it's harassment. It's making a mockery of, and I don't know. I just feel the word bullying. It just gets made wider and wider all the time so that we can just throw any number of things under the scope of bullying. Again, not taking away or justifying this father and their son's actions. I don't know. I just, whenever I see the word bully anymore, I go, oh, was this a real instance of bullying, or is this just some sort of harassment? Which, again, I know people say, well, harassment is bullying. But anyway, I don't know. Who really knows? It's really an arbitrary definition of bullying anymore, so it's not like I can sit here and tell you with an absolute certainty what it is or isn't. Anyway, I don't know, I just wanted to make this video and just kind of put a different perspective out there that I don't really see anyone talking about or really thinking about, because I don't know, if it turns out that, the parents are hoping to get some sort of like a book deal or something out of this, and you start to see that they really start cashing in on this story, I mean, granted, it's going to have to be a lot bigger than this to get like a book deal or anything, but I don't know, you never know with people, and these are just two neighbors that apparently from the news report have had a problem with each other for a long period of time. And one last thing that I want to say is, This supposedly had been going on for over a year, where the son was supposedly harassing the girl in the school bus, and then as of recently, the father joined in on the mocking of little Hope. This father, when he was talking about how disgusted he was that someone, a grown adult, a grown-ass man, would mock his 10-year-old daughter, why hasn't that father confronted him? Or if he did, maybe he did. Why doesn't anyone confront him? I mean, this is a public bus stop. Why are people going up to this guy going, what are you doing with your son? You're mocking someone with a disability? Do you think that's fucking funny? How about someone comes up to you and breaks your fucking jaw so you talk with a speech impediment the rest of your life, and then we all make fun of you? And guess what? No one will feel bad laughing at you, dick face. Like, I don't know. Why is, no one confronting this guy? Again, maybe people are. Maybe the father just, isn't aggressive or anything like that. Who knows? But I don't know. I just felt weird that the father felt so hurt, because goddamn, if that was my daughter, I'd be showing up to that guy's house with a baseball bat. I don't know, maybe he has a lot of guns, so who knows. But anyway, that's just me, and just something else that I didn't really hear too many people talking about, saying, why didn't the father just confront this guy and say, hey, look, if you mock my daughter again, I'm going to knock you the fuck out. It's straight simple. And I doubt the police are going to give a shit if I do. So, anyway, that's just my 2 cents on all this. I don't know what you guys think. Just something for you to think about here on this Friday. So everyone, have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. And Halloween's almost around the corner here. So I tend to make things more festive here during Halloween. And you'll find that out in future videos. Take care, everyone.